glad you ended with a quote, because one of the things that I wanted to point out when I was reading your book today was how effective the quotes were, because they really kind of did what you wanted to do. They were older quotes, obviously, but they spoke to things happening.
Thank you.
And when you first came up with this idea, presented it to me, like, I think everybody was skeptical. How are you going to make...
Everyone was very skeptical.
Interested in the Civil War. I think you've come up with some creative ideas.
Thank you.
I had a couple of questions, and one is, this may have to do with my limited knowledge of Snapchat and how it works, but with a limited budget, is it worth spending actually more than half of it on Snapchat geofilter?
Yeah, well, actually, that was something I struggled with, because I went to Chris and said, do you think this is worth it? And he asked me about the research and said, yes, I do think it's worth it. Especially because the research came back and said that they are interested in Snapchat. That is the primary form of communication, was Instagram and Snapchat. And they did said, that new demographic said that they were interested in, they were communicating on Facebook, but they're communicating via Snapchat and Instagram. So the fact that they wrote in Snapchat so often, when I didn't even give them an option for it, said something to me that that's how they're communicating. So even if the person using the geofilter isn't clicking on that as an outside link and saying, oh yes, I'm interested in the Civil War, I want to know more, they're just sending that out to their friends, they're sending that to their story, and everyone else is seeing that, so it's public. So they're sending that out, and it's open for 24 hours at least. So other people are getting the opportunity to see what's emerging Civil War, where are you at, and getting the opportunity to see ECW. So I think it's definitely worth it.
Okay, I have one other question before I'll turn it over. Did you look at all into how reenactors manage to keep young people involved? Because I've been to a few of these reenactments, and it's not all just old 60 to 70 white men. There were a lot of younger people. And
a lot of it's familial. Yeah, a lot of it's familial. And although I didn't do a lot of research, I'll be honest, I didn't do a lot of research. I know some reenactors, for Frasier. Frasier's not involved, her boyfriend is. But just from being involved a little bit, but there is a distinct divide between historians and reenactors that I know from just reading and being involved with ECW as historians. But just from doing the little bit of research that I did, from what I found, that it's very familial. And because of that, I'm not sure how I would have integrated it into my plan.
Yeah, I had some questions. I guess I'm going to start with Instagram.
Yep.
Because they actually do have an Instagram page, right? Okay.
No, they don't have one.
There's one called Emerging Civil War.
Okay, then Chris doesn't know it exists.
Have you been sleep coding?
And it
Maybe.
links to emergingcivilwar.com, which doesn't seem to
If Chris made an Instagram page and didn't tell me, I'm gonna kill him.
Well, this one started in 2015.
And if that's on video,
September 13th,
I'll
2015,
make good on it.
And it has a total of 7 posts.
Well, then there you go.
So, well, that,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
regardless, my question is pretty much still the same, because you told me that you're going to use Instagram, you're going to have native content, and you're going to have some ads. And I see an example of the ads in the book. I would like to have seen it up there. The ad that you have. But what is the content going to be that would engage a millennial to want to follow the account, to hear the message about the future started here? So had you thought about what that native content is? Yes.
So I want to do photos from within museums, photos from our battlefield tours, and because we have historians that work in the museums and on the battlefields, we have access to them being able to take those photos daily. And also because we'll be doing the pop-up tours, we have access to be able to use that content on our Instagram and on Instagram stories.
So museums, the pop-up tours, and did you say battlegrounds?
Yeah.
Okay, and then following up on that, I guess my question would be, because I agree with Snapchat and Instagram as platforms that the millennial generation, the folks that you're looking to attract would be drawn to, how are you going to drive them to Snapchat? You don't really drive anybody to, they just kind of find it because they're there taking pictures, but how are you going to drive them to Instagram, Emerging Civil War account?
Well, we've got the hashtag, the future started here. So we'll be driving them there using the hashtag and then using the promotional tools through the organizational partnerships.
Promotional tools through the organization partnerships. What is that?
So we've got the okay. So if we're using the promotional, the organizational partnerships. So if we're getting them involved in the organizational partnerships. So the
Consulting ones?
yeah, the Sculpt the Future Foundation, the Civil War Trust Partnership, and the American Battlefield Protection Program. So if we're partnering with them to do things like the battlefield cleanup, understanding things like legislation to do more green spaces and protecting battlefiels. And then we can also use that, like pictures from those and video from those as content on Instagram. We can drive them to our social media while they're with us physically.
In those places?
Yeah, and then we can also use while they're with us with the pop-up tours. We'll be handing out pamphlets that have our social media on them. And when we use things like, did I go past it? The flyers, like I have a budget for flyers and pamphlets when we do the partnership promotions. All of our social media will be available on that. So if someone, for example, is interested, right up here, going to a tour, a pop-up tour, but say if, like they can't make it to like the free tour, they can still follow us on Instagram and social media and keep updated with Civil War news.